Oh, it's a nice computer.
Every time I heard about a study of this or a study of that, it's like, well, I just, like, man, don't even talk to me.
Yeah.
68% of the studies are unproven. They're not worthy.
Yeah, this is fine.
Well, and 92% of the health statistics are made up.
I wouldn't say that, it's, you can't tell which.
And it's very hard to work.
I'm waiting green jogging.
I think you're
Good, you look very clear.
Likewise,
It's
you're
working.
I've been working.
How's it going?
Go. Do we have an acting sergeant in our?
Acting Sergeant at Arms,
What did
everybody
you
likes to fill the role,
1, 2, 3.
not all at once.
Yeah, right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Are you guys ready for another edition of the excitement of TechMasters? Let's welcome our president, William Austin.
First thing, if you would care to do so, please join me in doing our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we would move to our invocation timer, I believe. Let me go to the notes. Invocation timer. Do we have an invocation?
Would you have one? Oh. I remember this time.
Go ahead and get us one. We got it. All right.
Continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential. Winston Churchill.
Thank you. You may be seated. Next on the agenda is previous meeting minutes. Mr. Secretary, do you have our previous meeting minutes?
That I do, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters. Last week, we met on the 4th of October. We started right promptly at 7:40. We had 18 in attendance. It was a Speechcraft meeting with several guests. The theme of the meeting was promotion. We had Katie did table topics. The wise old owl went to Brett. And that was it. So we're first week of Speechcraft. This is the second.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is old business. Is there any old business? Just reviewing, we took care of name tags. Everyone has a name tag, or we have blank name tags. We did the written evaluation forms. Need a blank name tag? Right up front here, I believe. No?
Have you ever filled one out for it? Oh, okay. Oh. I think there are 2 Rachels, which I noticed.
Morning. Do we have any blank stock?
Grab print them out. Print it so we get started.
Okay, check it right. Moving on, new business. Is there any new business? I do not see any new business. Announcement. I'll give one announcement. So tonight, I believe, is the Node MN user group. They're part of Meetup. I like to attend this meeting once in a while. Node is something that I'm interested in. So I believe I'm going to attend, and if I do, I'm going to stand up in front of their audience and say, I'm from TechMasters, I'm the current president, we'd like to do this kind of thing, or get better at communicating in general, please come check us out. Any other announcements? Yes, Dennis.
Mr. President, there are a couple things. I can't remember if it's tonight or not, but there is an event over at Prime Academy. Chad would know something about like ledgers and software development. I thought that sounded like a good synergistic group for us to go to. I sent an email to Chad yesterday, like, hey, can I go check that out? Hopefully someone can check it out. I think it's tonight at Prime Academy. Oh, and the other one I wanted to mention was ILM is hosting something called the Xamarin Days.
Oh, yeah, Xamarin Dev Days.
Yeah, it's Xamarin Dev Days, which sounded like a really cool event. And of course, I would suggest going to it. I've registered for myself. It's next Saturday.
Yeah.
From like 9 to 4. So.
Yeah, so a little more,
Katie?
yes.
Would you like to stand up and give a little spiel about Xamarin Dev Day? Quickly.
Yeah, okay, fine. So, Xamarin Dev Days is one of those Microsoft events that they do worldwide. It's a one-day thing. There's going to be 3 sessions, then lunch, and then a lab. It's all about getting people introduced to Xamarin, working with it, learning how it can interact with Azure. It's being hosted by Minnesota Enterprise Mobile, which is one of our mobile development user groups in the Twin Cities with a strong Xamarin focus. You know, Adam and Steve, they're the guys who are running it. And I'm going to be presenting one of the sessions on Xamarin and Azure. So, it'll be fun.
All right, thanks, Katie. Yes, Tony?
Oh, I haven't announced this lately, but we have the October Association of Enterprise Architects meeting this Friday at 9 a.m. That will be held down, I believe, at Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we have a couple good presenters. Tim Jennison's presenting on the enterprise architecture story and business transformation, and we also have Semyon Axelrod of Semanterprise speaking on enterprise architecture back to the future.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Would you like to send that in?
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Any other announcements? No other announcements? Let's take a break then, till 8 o'clock, and we'll start up the Speechcraft.
David.
You can just give me some. Actually,
It was meant to be a physical.
Check it out real quick.
Life is crazy.
Yeah, I just kind of looked at the, I didn't really work with
So yeah, they'll have a short GE set.
It's like the worst thing, it's like the worst thing of the year for me, right? How you doing? Yeah. What brings you here? Oh, really? He's part of it? Okay.
On pace of what you're on.
Oh, sure. Right. Oh, sure, yeah. As long as you get it.
Yeah, I haven't even like, there's nothing catastrophic in there.
Yeah.
And about the minivan here. Still on the.
Once you buy a minivan, you can never wear it, no matter what SUV.
I had it like for a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have this stuff a couple of times. I'm actually gonna run through the entire site sometimes. I've learned that.
Yes. I don't want any of that control.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and I kind of fall.
Where you supposed to trigger on every time you go into a database?
Yes.
I just made
Trigger on the report address, location, or location table. But we don't actually pull exit registration events from. I don't know. Going for exit Oh, I think we talked about making it so that it inserts to the summary table directly on exit registration. But I mentioned this one. Where you can just trigger on the report location tables to go back and update.
I usually hesitate to do it because it may.
I'll hand this to you when I call you.
Yeah. That's more than the data.
This writing's right here.
Yeah, so not very positive elections.
You don't need to search your arms during the meeting. It's the
It was,
acting Toastmasters job.
it's there. We'll worry about that next week, but in the meantime, let's keep going. I've been interested.
Well, that,
Somebody has to introduce president.
I will say, every election, except for.
I mean, you take the time.
Katie is your
That was
title.
officially timer, but I was gonna take it. Do you want it?
Not particularly, no.
Because if you want me to do it today, I can do that.
I owe you a call.
It's fine.
All right, we're 8:03.
Need back to order.
All right, let's sit down, let's get going. Here I stand in Sergeant Arms, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring this together. We've got our president who ran the business meeting. We're now going to dive into the Toastmaster part of the meeting. This is where we have some fun all around how we can improve our communication. And to lead us as our Toastmaster today, we've got none other than our immediate past president, the man who has jumped right into all of the different kinds of things you can do in Toastmastership. I don't know if there's an award or a level he has not yet accomplished. Let's welcome our very esteemed Vince Bollinger as our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. Welcome, everybody. Week 2 of Speechcraft. This is a workshop to, in case you're new here, a workshop to onboard new members to Toastmasters. Seems a little bit daunting sometimes when people join up, and a lot of times the people in the IT world get a little bit flustered, a little bit overwhelmed by it. So there's a program that Toastmasters that we're running today, and it is to onboard new people so they become much stronger members, and people that come out of the Speechcraft workshop think it was the best thing ever, and people who didn't go through it really feel jealous. Like, man, I wish they had that. So, the first thing, we go through a lot of different roles in Toastmasters. We go through prepared speeches, we have impromptu speeches, we have evaluations on the front, and a couple other things that are really important include timing. If you want to be good with public speaking, you want to make sure that you're on time, start and stop, then you think you're on time, things like that. And today's timer is Tony. Please tell us about your role.
Thank you, Master Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. My job is to help you keep on time. Depending on the speech, you have an allotted time. When you've met the minimum, the green card comes up. When you're about midway through the timing period, the yellow card comes up. When you've gone over, the red card comes up. And I start throwing things when you really go over. Now, for our table topics, we're giving about a minute and a half. So that means that a minute the card green comes up, yellow at a minute 15, red at a minute and a half.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tony. We do have one new guest. You could stand up, tell us who you are, and what you're.
Sure. Good morning. My name is David Rockwell, and what brought me here today is that I found the event on tech.mn, and always interested in improving my public speaking skills, so it was an interesting event for me to attend today.
Thank you very much. Today's table topics master. Now, of course, we've gone over timing and things like that, but we're going to jump into impromptu speech. We want to practice different kinds of things. We want to be able to practice thinking on our feet. We want to be able to be prepared for interviews, so we're not flustered by crazy questions. We want to be able to answer questions, maybe during a product demo or something like that. What happens if I click on this, or I don't like that? How can you positively respond to that? So we improve on that with impromptu speaking. Today's table topic master is Angela. Please help me welcome you in.
So welcome everybody again. Table topics our new members. So let's start with Rich. So Rich, much of us in the TechMasters group are in the technology field. So I'm curious about a technology challenge that you had at some point.
Good morning, I'm Toastmaster. I am currently working on a interesting technology problem. My current client has a product that does quite well. And their problem is when they go to pitch to potential clients or customers, the latency sometimes isn't the best and the Wi-Fi going back and forth. So I've come up with a solution to go ahead and localize everything on the salesperson's machine. So that includes getting the local database over, the local website over. So everything is particular to that salesperson's machine. And we will eventually use that process to refresh different environments such as staging and test. Thank you.
So oftentimes I have a fantasy about TED Talks. I was going to give a TED Talk and think about, okay, what am I going to talk about? So if you were going to give a TED Talk, what would be your topic? And keep in mind, TED Talk's about 18 minutes, so they're not as long as people think.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Off the top of my head, if I were to give a TED Talk, it would be on the dangers of, does that have to keep tech related? Dangers of antibiotic resistance in bacteria. I see this as one of the greatest threats to the health of people in the future. Once antibiotics become useless, a lot of diseases that previously were eradicated or managed will become, not eradicated, but managed will come back possibly and cause a lot more damage than anyone has been used to in modern life. Antibiotics were discovered around World War II, and a lot of people cannot remember any time before antibiotics. There are solutions though. The Soviet Union put a lot of research into a type of virus called bacteriophage, which targets bacteria and attacks bacteria. So if one day antibiotics were useless, possibly there would be a solution by turning to viruses. Thank you.
So in less than a month, we're going to be voting for a new president of the United States. If you could make any changes to the political process, what would it be?
I could make any change to the process. I would restrict
prepared speeches today are all icebreakers for all of you guys. So we're gonna start off. By the way, Drew, you're gonna have to start everything all the time. So you can let me know. So what we've asked to do is we've asked the new participants to put together an icebreaker speech. Only 2 to 3 minutes, not your 5 to 7 one we all have to do, right? 2 to 3 minutes. And the mentors of the individual participants are going to be giving them an oral evaluation answer, right? So, without further ado, let's welcome Drew Andrews.
All right, well, I've never tried the HDMI port on this thing before, and I guess.
So while he's getting set up, I'll grab the room and I'll hold your attention over here so you're not paying attention over there. How did table topics go for everyone? Who is
supposed to dance.
supposed to dance?
Yeah.
I'm not dancing. I'm gonna go into my safe spot, cross my arms.
Do magic beats.
No, how did table topics go? This is a difficult thing to do. I always tell people who start Toastmasters, my first table topics answer was downtown at the Skyway Toastmasters. And it was 15 seconds, and I could feel my head going, and I was so embarrassed. So it's not an easy thing to do. You see people do it, and you don't realize just how hard it is. Alex, I think you did some good thinking on your feet there. You were struggling for an idea, and you said, I'm just going to talk about being lost and using the wrong coordinates in Google Maps. So that works. It's better than standing there and going, just grab whatever you can. We also teach kind of strategy. This is what Paul Chiavetti taught me. He said when you're asked a table topics question, there's really 3 ways you can answer. 1, you can answer the question straight out. They ask you a question, you answer it. 2, you can answer another question that someone else has heard. So that gives you time to prepare. You can listen to someone else's question and come up with your own answer so that when you're called, you've had some time to prepare. And 3, you can do what I think the politicians do all the time, is avoid the question entirely and try to drag the conversation down a different path. That's also a strategy. Once you realize that these strategies are being used, you see them all the time. So how are we doing?
Great.
All right, then I'll turn it back over to Drew.
No, you're not.
No, I won't.
We're gonna
Sit down.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna get the Drew fixed, but it's gonna take a couple minutes. We're gonna go move on to Rich next. Who's something off the Rich board?
Thank you, Vince. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, my name is Rich Blummer. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. Now, one might say, how do you become from Anchorage, Alaska? Well, my parents moved to Anchorage, Alaska from Kalispell, Montana, and they're going to live there just for 1 year. They lived there for about 35 years. I have a sister, younger sister, and 2 younger siblings. Only one of my younger brothers lives in Alaska currently. The rest of us live in what we call the lower 48, so the continental United States. I was fortunate enough after my sophomore year in high school to play junior hockey. So it's kind of the step between high school and college hockey. I ended up playing juniors for a couple years and then going to Ferris State University to play. However, I wasn't playing at Ferris State, and I decided to quit hockey. Circumstances have it, I was in Detroit with watching my younger brother play. I knew a guy that scouted for the NHL San Jose Sharks, and he said, hey, I know you're not playing, but I have a gentleman over here that's looking for a couple players yet for next year. Would you mind talking to him? Next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and a school that I never heard of called Augsburg College, Division III school right across the river from the U. After playing hockey, finishing my education, I went to work at Carlson Vogley Travel, and that's how I got started in software development. It's also where I met my wife, Heather, through a mutual friend. We started dating, and as relationships turn out, pretty good, I proposed, and we got married. We have 2 kids. I have a son that's Carson, he's 13. A daughter, Amanda, she's 11. And of course, my wife. We live in Maple Grove, Minnesota. My hobbies are fishing, golfing, pretty much anything outdoors, biking, running. I'm also into working out. I have a membership at Orange Theory Fitness that I've recently started. And I love it. If you want to talk about that, that'd be awesome. My passions are technology. I love being around people, and that is my story. Thank you.
We're gonna move on to Amy next. Amy Black. Please have one.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My name is Amy Dugash. I like big words, and I cannot lie. No hominids may deny that I do like big words. This is a long time happenstance. I grew up in bucolic, rural Maine. There was not much to do. I spent a lot of time reading. This was sanctioned and blessed by my parents. Hazards of having an English teacher in the house. And my tendency towards using polysyllabic words came at a price when you are at a school where your graduating class is 48 students. I did at one point have someone a year younger to say, why do you keep using those big words? It's like, because they're the right words in the situation. I did perhaps take an incorrect path in balancing that. I picked up the ability to swear like a sailor on the logic that if I'm swearing, it's not a big word, you probably ought to know what I'm saying. Eventually came out to the Midwest to go to school, a small liberal arts college, where my love of words was the norm. The outliers were not people who liked big words. They were the people who would start drinking and immediately start declaiming verse in iambic pentameter all night, or the linguistics major who knit poems of E. Cummings into scarves. From there, I ended up in technology, and I came to another situation where big words needed to be well balanced. When I started out, feels like much longer ago than perhaps it was, the norm was all onshore development. Over time, I saw that change. So I went from having a team that was predominantly English speakers who knew many of the words I was speaking to finding that I was dealing with onshore and offshore, and my team became increasingly more diverse with a lot more English language as a second language speakers. So I found over time that what is a love, and it still is a love, needs to be balanced and thoughtfully applied so that my point can continue to flow regardless of who I'm speaking with and whatever medium I'm speaking with. It's still an ongoing struggle, but part of that's why I'm here, so I can continue to hone that as I continue to use big words at home with my somewhat egg-headed husband and my dog who likes being a pain in the derriere. So thank you all very much, and if you ever have a question how to spell my name, let me know.
Are we ready here?
Me.
Did you email me that?
Yeah.
Why don't we, what, one more first?
Oh, the 30 other ones? Okay.
Of course we will. All right, next up, the next newest person up to give a speech is Darren. Is it he or she? How do you pronounce that? What do I say? Kai? All right, that's it. All right, please tell me welcome, Darren.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darren. I come from China. Currently, I'm a graduate student, major in computer science in St. Cloud State University. From China to here, there are three big steps I have to pass. The English, the university degree, and the job. Why English? Because in China, English is my weakest one during my study. But I believe this ToastMaster is the best way to improve my English and my communication skill. Right now, I can say I passed the first big step. The second one is the university degree, because just mentioned that Chinese degree not work here, so I spent 3 years to get this master degree. Fortunately, I love coding. I love programming. During the past 3 years, I learned a lot technologies. I got a lot of fun. For example, I learned a lot of programming language like C, C++, Java, C#, and I learned database, how to use database, how to create database, how to access data, how to manage database, and I learned a lot of technology about lifecycle model, like waterfall, like Agile, like Scrum, and right now I'm working on my final version of my graduation paper. I believe I will get my master degree at the end of this year. I think, yeah. The last thing is a job. Although I didn't get a job yet, but I believe in the future I will get one. Finally, I want everybody to remember me. My name is Darren. Last name is Jie. It's a bit good to pronounce it. I passed my first two big steps, like English and the university degree. Right now, I'm looking for a job like a software developer or software engineer. By the way, if anyone can set up an interview for me, that's the best thing. I really appreciate it. That's me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darren. Now, we are ready for the long-awaited, wonderful presentation with slides and everything. Holy cow. Please, for real now, help me welcome Drew.
All right.
Top right, there's the present button.
Yeah. Okay. This one. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Anderson. I'm from Illinois. I am not from Chicago, which is the first thing everyone thinks of when I say it. I'm actually from Springfield, which is right here in where Chicago considers southern Illinois. It's about midway between Chicago and St. Louis. It's helpful to be from the state capital, which it is because it's usually marked in. Not that one. This is my family. Fairly recent picture, including my brother-in-law, Bill, on a trip to New York. As you can see, I have, well, as you can probably see, 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister. This is my girlfriend. We may become a family soon. We're talking about it. Who knows? I went to Purdue University. I went there because they had a pretty good computer science program. I knew I wanted to be a computer programmer or possibly a computer engineer. Turns out that's a lot harder. So yes, it was. I also worked for a little while at Sirius, the Center for Education and Research, Information Assurance and Security. That's what I shortened it. It was a really beautiful campus. That was nice. It was also nice that it was far from home, but not too far from home, so I didn't have to fly there. I moved to Minnesota in 2007 for my first real job, writing C#, mostly desktop application development, stuff like that. And that job did not last very long. Because remember when a bunch of jumped up idiots crashed the economy? And then I ended up working with PHP for a few years. Yeah, but I also learned JavaScript, which I still love the words of and use today. But I did learn it the hard way on IE6, before Firebug was a thing, before Chrome existed with its brilliant development tools. But yeah, JavaScript is weird. It's a weird working language that I thought was Java at first, incorrectly. I also claim to have invented to have used and invented the first third-party iPad app, the iPlate, because we got that iPad the day they came out, first day they came out, special delivery in the morning, and while iTunes was installing, I figured I might as well use it. I also, while I was working at that awful job, bought my first place and immediately got it and redid the bathroom. My second job, third real job, was at an advertising agency. Basically, we did car videos mainly for a very special product for car sales websites. There were videos worse than anything that I even got to put Python in production when I was there. Now I'm a consultant for wherever the sales department's in. Sorry, that's a horrible thing.
Thank you, Drew. And we do have one last one. Alex, you're ready for Alex with your icebreaker. Please tell me what Alex is.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try and tell you how I came to be here in Minnesota. Some of you may have already picked up on the fact that I'm English, and yet I'm living here. So how did that come to be? If you'd said to me 18 months ago that you would be living in Minnesota now, I would have been very surprised to hear that. I didn't see that coming at all. I was working for Oracle in London. I was sadly coming to the end of a 25-year relationship. I had a daughter who was entering her final year at university. I was thinking of quitting Oracle and starting my own business. I planned to take my daughter on a road trip to the US. So we went on this road trip. We flew to Seattle and drove across the country. The plan was we'd wind up in a small town in North Dakota called Water City, where Coral, my daughter's mother, was working. She was making a movie there. So we had a fun road trip. We ended up in Water City, North Dakota. We split up there. My daughter flew to Los Angeles to meet up with her boyfriend, and I had arranged to fly back to London Heathrow with a layover in Minneapolis, a city I never visited and knew nothing about. So I got on my plane at Minot, and I flew to Minneapolis, and I got off the plane. And what I didn't realize at that point was that I left my passport in the seat pocket in front of me on my plane. So here I was in Minneapolis. I had 5 hours And the plane I got off was going to be sitting there for at least 2 hours while they cleaned out the plane. I had 2 hours to remember that I'd left my passport on the plane. I could have gone back. I could have got my passport, and my life would have been very different if I'd done that. But I didn't do that. I just wandered around the Minneapolis airport, buying more coffee than I needed to drink, and buying magazines, and I had a meal, just wandered around looking at the shops. Until about an hour before my flight was due to leave for Heathrow. At which point I looked for my passport and it was gone. I didn't know what had happened. Maybe somebody stole my passport. This is identity theft. What's going on? So I spoke to the gate agents, the Delta gate agents, and they got me to check and see if I got my passport. And while I was doing that, I realized, oh, what I've done. I left it on the plane. And they did this rather cool thing. They spoke to the tower spoke to the pilot of the plane that was now on his way to Louisville, Kentucky. And the flight attendant went down the plane, fished out the passport, told the pilot, who told the gate, who told me, we've got your passport, we'll bring it back tomorrow morning. But the gate agent who was speaking to me, who I found out later was a French interpreter, took pity on me and said, I do this sometimes for waifs and strays. If you like, you can come back with me, I can give you a room for the night. That's how I met my future wife. We married 2 weeks ago. And now I live here. So here I am. I've been married 2 weeks. This is my future. Wish me luck, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Great story. All right, move on here. Okay, so we've got through the prepared speeches from all the new people here. Great icebreakers, so it was a lot of fun. And now we're going to move on to some educational speeches to get you ready for next week. So keep your ears open, just stuff you're going to want to know for next week. On top of what you've done today, you'll also be getting introductions and evaluations. We're going to learn all about introductions, from creating an introduction from our current treasurer, Brent Estigos. Do something like Brent.
Right there, I guess. Somewhere in there, hopefully. I'm gonna do something you're not supposed to do first. I'm gonna apologize if I start hacking during my speech. I came down with the cold, just seems to be this morning, so I'm gonna try and fight through it. Introductions are key, and they are key for a lot of reasons, not just in Toastmasters, but in everyday life. So I want to start with an example of the importance of a good introduction. Imagine you have a friend who reaches out to you and says, I really want a new job. I'm sick of what I'm doing. I really want to get into IT, but I have no experience. But I know you're in IT. Is there anybody you could connect me with? You think about it and you really respect this friend. You know he would do the work, he would do well, and he would succeed in the field. So I decide, okay, I'm going to reach out to some people into my network and see if I can help this person. So I reach out to Leanne, who works at one of the local consulting companies here. And I could send her an introduction in one of two ways. The first being, hey Leanne, how's it going? I got a friend who wants to get a job in QA. You got anything? Thanks, Brent. Right. That would be one. Probably wouldn't elicit much of a response. Leanne probably would think, well, I don't know anything about this guy. I'm too busy to query more information from Brett. So I'll just reply, say, well, I'll keep an ear to the ground. Right? I'll let you know if I see. Another approach would be, hey Leanne, how's it going? I have a very, very dear friend of mine who is currently working in sales and marketing. He's got vast experience with direct sales, online sales, and he's actually an entrepreneur who has his own business. He's looking to change up his life a little bit and maybe do a career change, and he's looking to get into IT. While he has no direct experience in IT, he is one of the most technical people I know, and he's more in touch with fancy gadgets and fancy technology than I am. And so because of that, I think he would be a really great fit for any team that was willing to take a chance and bring somebody new in. Then I would put the contact information and say, here you go, here's his information, feel free to contact him if something comes up. Now, that introduction would probably elicit a much more positive result because I've given my friend credit, I've given him a little bit of clout, I've talked a little bit about who he is and why he's trying to move. And so chances are he may get contacted by Leanne because Leanne always responds to emails, right? So introductions are key in everything. Toastmasters, our personal lives, and it's all about how we present things. So, oh no, I did the same thing.
Left, right,
Left, right, left, right. Okay, this one. But today we're going to be talking about introductions in the context of Toastmasters. People here in Speechcraft are going to have to be taking roles which will require introductions. And so we need to talk a little bit about why they're important for Toastmasters. Clearly, we have lots of different roles. We have people walking back and forth to the podium, and introductions help with the smooth transition. For example, when Vince introduced me, he gave a little blurb about me while I was walking up here, so the podium wasn't empty. The lectern, sorry, wasn't empty the whole time, and he gave you a little bit of insight about what we're going to do. So smooth transitions are pretty important, so the meeting doesn't feel choppy. Additional, well, I guess probably for me the biggest benefit of an introduction is to get your audience in the correct mindset. When we did Tech Month here, all of the presentations and speakers were talking about technical topics. And so if you have an audience which is largely technical, maybe some not technical, you need to be able to kind of give them a little bit of glimpse into the content so they can get their head kind of around what they're going to be listening to. So they kind of can see or start to think about what they're going to hear, how much they should pay attention, if they want to take notes, that sort of thing. Another really important thing is to give the speaker a little bit of time. You don't want to do it too much. You don't want to use cliches like he's the best at Xamarin in the entire world. She's going to blow your mind. But a little bit of credit so the audience kind of says, okay, this person has something that I might want to know. And that's a really important aspect of the introduction. So how do you craft an introduction? What are the things that you have to include for Toastmasters? Well, obviously the speaker's name. I do this all the time, and Vince was guilty of it even today when he asked about how to pronounce your last name. And with Katie's last name, every time I have to present her, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get it right, so I have to ask her, and it's embarrassing for me, right? So make sure you know the name of the speaker, you can pronounce it. It's not Vince Bullinger, it's Vince Bullinger. So you have to know the names. And the speech title. You don't want to come up here and say, next, Alec Carmuccio is going to be talking about what? What are you going to talk about? I think you're speaking next.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have to do that. You want to know the title. And then, of course, a little bit about the topic so you can, again, get the audience into the correct mindset for it. Now, these are the Toastmaster kind of canned things you should consider when you're drafting your presentation. Approach. What they say you should do is talk to the speaker beforehand. So if I was going to be introducing Alex, I would talk to him maybe a day before the meeting and say, what kind of energy do you want me to put out? What kind of things do you want me to include? That sort of thing. So that's what they recommend to do. I do that sometimes. I'll reach out to the person and say, what do you want me to include in your introduction? How do you want me to approach it from an energy level? Second is length. Most introductions in Toastmasters, 15 to 30 seconds is good enough. But as you'll see, when Andrew came up and we had some technical difficulties, Vince kind of scrambled back up here to help. And so sometimes you have to be ready for the introductions to go quite a bit longer because you may actually be filling time that isn't necessarily introducing the speaker, but trying to keep the audience occupied during the setup. And William, you did a good job doing that when Vince was helping with technical problems. Delivery. Delivery is important. If you're at a funeral, you don't want to go up there and say, yeah, I got a great speaker coming up. You have to think about how you want to deliver it. If it's a tech conference and it's after lunch and everyone's full of pizza and tired, maybe deliver it with a bit more energy. So you have to consider the audience, the time of day, the context, and you can kind of tune your delivery to that. And the final point here is clarification. And this really is kind of tied to approach in this case. Before the introduction happens, maybe the speaker's waiting out in the hall somewhere. Talk to the speaker and just kind of clarify, okay, I'm going to cover these things. Make sure you got the speech title right. Make sure you can pronounce the name correctly and that sort of thing. Now, applying restraint. This is something I've seen people with lots of problems in the past. Don't upstage your speaker. If you're at a user group and you're actually like, you're an Angular master, right? Like you know everything about 2.0 and all the new stuff that's coming out. And the person speaking is going to be speaking on 2.0. Don't come up here and say, yeah, today we're going to be talking to someone, you know, who knows Angular kind of. Right? I worked with them, he learned a lot from me. You know, don't make yourself seem more important than the speaker. Also, if you know what the speech content is and you know there's some hooks in it, like there's going to be some jokes, there's going to be some twists and turns of the content, maybe the slides. For example, like your slides were pretty funny, the PHP hammer, right? So if I would have introduced Drew and said, well, you know, the speech is going to be great, but wait to see that hammer, right? Like, don't reveal too many details. Let the speech kind of reveal itself to the audience. Don't surprise the speaker. Don't say the speaker is going to be talking about X, and maybe the speaker didn't tell you they were going to be talking about X, and now the speaker's like, I'm not going to be talking about that, right? And so it kind of makes the speaker uncomfortable. Again, don't praise the speaker's skills. That kind of, you know, don't overdo it. Don't say he's the best person in the world, she's the best person in the world, because maybe they're not, and the audience might get let down. So, and then don't rely on cliches. I wasn't really totally sure what this meant. I actually had to give this speech once before, and I glanced over this point, and a guy in the audience said, well, what do you mean by cliches? I think Mike Bankovich helped me out. Meaning, don't say, again, he's the best speaker I've ever seen, or no one speaks better than him. So just don't try to over-exaggerate, use cliches to describe the speaker. And finally, don't say the speaker's name to the end. You're gonna, like when I talked about the email I would send to Leanne, you know, mention the name first, mention it throughout the email, so the speaker's name's fresh in their mind. If you say it right before they come on, there's a little bit of excitement, people will be clapping, and at the end of the meeting, or this presentation, you might be thinking, oh, what was his name again? Hopefully he's got it on his final slide. He's got it on the final slide. So apply restraint in these areas. And then podium etiquette. The lectern. When you're giving an introduction, eye contact, right? That's a big thing here in Toastmasters. We should be looking at every person in the eye a little bit throughout everything we do. So keep good eye contact. Don't leave the lectern when the speaker starts coming up. Don't start walking out when the speaker's coming in, because then we have, you know, an empty lectern. When the speaker approaches, stand up, shake hands, and then turn it over and walk around. And then, of course, show interest. Be excited. Don't be boring. And finally, introductions are only the beginning. When the speaker's finished, as the person who did the introduction, you're also in charge of summing up the presentation. Talk about some of the points you liked, thank them, give them encouragement, be kind to the speaker, and maybe ask for a second round of applause, depending on the situation. So these are the Toastmasters tips to mastering the art of introductions. I think this translates into regular life in a lot of different ways when you're meeting coworkers, friends, acquaintances. Introducing yourself in a formal, nice, approachable way does a lot for you as a person. With that, I'll turn it over to Vince.
Obviously under the weather, so that's why thank you, Brett. Now, next up, we have another thing. We're going to have the participants next week introduce each other. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to have evaluation. So we're going to learn about the art of evaluation from one of our past persons, Alex. Please help me with that.
Good morning, everybody. I saw that it says speeches 10 minutes, but we are pretty much out of time. So I try to cram it and mostly do my experience. And in the end of it, there is a slide from Toastmasters education for officers. I kind of feel it's very important. So evaluations. Every time when you do prepared speech, you got evaluated. And it's very big reason for this, that you get immediate feedback. And it's two people participating. Speaker after speech has to listen to evaluator. Evaluator has to try to give immediate evaluation and give feedback. And this way, if you do it once, maybe it does not matter. But if you go in during 3 months, during 6 months, during 1 year, 2 years, lots of stuff happens. You start improving your speeches, you start listening, you become evaluator, and it helps you a lot. How to everybody live for some time. They have kids, they have friends, coworkers. You doing your experience, you providing your feedback, but always think how you can really give a person something valuable. And just, if it's not this time, next time, but try to do it very kind of honestly, direct way, with very helpful way. Also, sometimes we trying maybe to go too direct, and this is, it's supposed to be constructive feedback, how to let person build on top of this, do not discourage, do not upset. And sometimes when speakers, especially during these icebreakers, speakers are hesitating, they kind of taking too hard on them. So that's why we do not do for icebreakers any awards, any voting, to do not discourage people, do not upset them. But later, when you see a person who participating in TechMasters or Toastmasters for a long time, and you know that person, you can give them some hard time. So because they will not kind of pay attention to your sugar, so we need to, okay, hey, need to pay attention. This person, he was club for more than 1 year, and he telling me it was third time, and I'm still ignoring that. So it's at that time maybe give a more direct, more authentic feedback. Tell and sell approach. So it's how it's done. You doing your speech, and later you, as a speaker, you listening to evaluator. And at that time, when you listening to evaluation, you not debate with evaluator, or evaluator says maybe you have to do it this better way. It's just one way. There is drawbacks, there is advantage of it. But always after meeting or later, you can talk and say, I disagree with you, but don't go in fist fight. But just, you can discuss it later. But when evaluation is happening, just listen and try to see what is evaluator saying. On the other side, evaluator try to be constructive and provide valuable feedback. There are lots of things how to evaluate efficiently, effectively, and all the slides are on Toastmasters.org website. You can find them for this specific, for more advanced evaluations. Very important here is we trying to do with manual speeches. Manual speeches, when you bring manuals, have lots of stuff for you as a speaker and for evaluator. And this is very good collaboration. So first, maybe during competent communicator, try to focus on these manuals. And it helped evaluator significantly. For evaluator, it says show that you're interested. It is true. You have to be interested and you have to show it. Sometimes people may listen, but they may be distracting, doing notes, and the speaker knows that you are evaluator. And sometimes maybe when he loses his idea, he looks at you and like maybe friendly set of eyes. And if you're not paying attention, maybe big pause. That I did something wrong stuff. So this is very, very helpful, and it's a kind of partner during speeches. And here you are, this is like, one day you speaker, one day you evaluator, next day you speaker again, but you remember what you did as evaluator. Next day you evaluator. And this kind of teeter-totter helps you significantly improve your experience, but it takes time. This is about constructive stuff, yes? For icebreakers, for new people, try to do not upset them, try to kind of improve their comfort level. we will find out 1 year later that you did not tell them full truth. But at that time, it was good because we keep coming here and yes. But again, for seasoned member, you can again choose word carefully, meaning more critical, more kind of impactful. This is frequently happen. Avoid being disingenuous. Yes. Okay, I told do not choose word carefully. I will just say something good, even not related. I say, oh, you did a great speech. Thank you for great speech. It is good, but at some point you realize, okay, evaluator was not interested, and I just can ignore and nothing. So it takes energy and it takes experience to evaluation. And again, you speaking, you evaluating, speaking, evaluating, it goes. If you've been with Toastmasters for 3 months, it's great, but lots of stuff can evaporate in 1 month. But if you've been here for 6 months, for 1 year, the longer you've been, the more it goes, and you really see in the depth. And it's actually pretty deep. If anyone remember, it's Shrek movie about onions, Shrek's like onions. So this is pretty much, you have to peel, and it's kind of endless onion. And at the end, I will show you why. And again, evaluation is a mini speech with an introduction, body, conclusion. So try to do it. At your very first evaluation, second, maybe it will not happen. But eventually, if you try, it will happen. And also, it is helping speaker because it leaves some kind of marks in the brain, helping them. Finally, I want to show you this slide from officer's training. So when you become an officer, where I actually discovered that there are many more kind of available improvement information, but at next level. You have to kind of pass first level, second level, but later. And there is this very interesting acronym to remember, IDEA. And this is actually can apply to your business life in general. So during speech, you identify goals in areas of improvement. This is great, you identified it. But next step, yes, we identified what to do. We need to define strategies, how to, what to do, how to do it. Okay, we got strategies, but now, if it has no timeline, if action item is never complete, it's also useless. So here you go, you need to have a timeline when this improvement possible. It's not strict, but maybe 1 month, maybe 2 weeks, but this is very critical. And finally, yes, we need to follow up. We have something to improve, and now we decided how soon and did we do it. And this way, as members of the club, we may help each other. Thank you.
So we've learned a lot about how important evaluations are, and due to time constraints, we're going to skip the evaluation portion. But I really felt it was important to hear what Alex had to say, so we learn a lot about evaluation. And besides, tabletop great job, Heather. Awesome. So we are on to the final closing portions here, and I'm going to talk to you guys about your assignments. Yes, that's right. Well, I'm assignments. Well, the 6 of you here. For the next week, you're going to be reading chapter 4 in your Speechcraft workbook, chapter 5, and chapter 7, and that will be introducing a speaker, organize your speech, and evaluate your speaker. Next week, you'll be getting your organize your speech out of your manual, and that again will be in the 2 to 3 or 3 to 5, yeah, something like that. Anyway, so you'll be getting another speech called organize your speech. You'll be working through Metro to figure that one out. And you will have a tabletop response, which is the impromptu speaking again, and you will introduce and evaluate each other. And I will make sure that the program has enough time. We have 6 speakers after Christmas, which is a little more than usual, which means, of course, a couple people get taken down in the last week. So the program was a little bit off from timing perspective. But wonderful, thanks for coming, thanks for having me. And for the next for the next week, we will be looking forward to your organized speech speeches. And please, mentors, please reach out to the people that you are mentoring to coordinate that. Thank you, and I will, I guess I'm during the pan. I will hear you.
And then next week, we'll go celebration. Yeah, no, I want you to email me about it.